what he showed us is that this is, in many people's eyes, it seems like a virtual reality, but in fact it's a reality that is his reality. It's the kingdom of God. It's what he wants to do throughout the earth, that he is extending his kingdom. In the Old Testament, they talked about the mountain of the Lord. In the New Testament, Jesus changed the phrase to the kingdom of God and said that it would be something that would absolutely eclipse everything else on earth. And that one day that there would be this mountain that all nations would stream to. And that's what we believe that the Lord has us on this earth for, is to release, impart, and infect this world with his love and with the kingdom of God and with this thing that we call the mountain. A number of years ago, I had pastored churches, and I became extremely frustrated because I really believed that there was a whole lot more that had to happen with the kingdom. And I wasn't seeing it. I wasn't seeing the blind see, the lame walk, the dead being raised. I just wasn't seeing those things. And I saw them a little bit here and there, but I hadn't seen them a whole lot in the West. And I'd heard the stories about what had happened in Africa and China and other places, but I wanted to see it happening here in the West. And the Lord began opening up my eyes to the reality of what he has for the kingdom. And in this extreme frustration of wanting to see it, he took me on this journey, and he reminded me of a vision that I had in 1987. And in that vision, I saw this mountain that grew out of a flat plain, and it became volcanic, and it exploded all throughout the entire region and across the nation and around the world. And he said, "You haven't seen this yet, but you're about to." And called us to move back to Columbia, South Carolina, where we began watching what it was that he was doing. My initial approach was to plant something, but he said, I don't want you to plant anything, Danny. I want you to watch something happening. And so we began watching him, first of all, form relationships in a few of us, and then eventually moving to the place where God was bringing in many, many people from all over the earth to be touched, to be infected, and to go back to their regions and across the nation and to their part of the world to infect further what he was doing. Since that time, we've moved into various regions throughout the nation, and we've moved to various places around the world. And God seems to be exploding this mountain that he says one day is going to eclipse politics and education and business and just every facet of society. It's going to be an eclipsing of all of that, because the mountain one day, the mountain of the Lord, will provide the shadow that everything else must work underneath. That's the joy of what we've had. Now that's just an expression, a little bit of the vision, but the reality is of what God has done with us. Is he said, number one, he says, what you're going to see is not a noun, you're going to see a verb. You're going to see an activity of the kingdom, and that everywhere you go, there must be something that continues after you leave. One of the greatest joys I have is to go somewhere and find out that greater things happen after we leave, not just when we were there. That it wasn't about the meetings we had, it was about that God touched lives, transformed lives, changed lives, and that they are continuing on in the kingdom of God way beyond anything we had ever experienced. I've been to some places where I've become jealous because I've realized they've gone further than places that I've been, and it's caused me to run harder after God myself. I think probably one of the most exciting things that we've seen has been how God has brought together musicians and leaders from throughout the region to begin to flow together and release a synergy of his presence. Rather than focused in on an agenda of what we're here to accomplish, we're focused in on learning how to walk together and be a part of the kingdom of God together in relationship. And as a result, what we're seeing is we're seeing him do something new, something fresh. In our worship over the past several years, there have been, I believe it's been in excess of 250, 300 songs that have been released as a result of this, and musicians that have come literally from across the nation and around the world to be a part of this thing called Mo-Band, which is totally an ambiguous thing, except that it's a synergy of life as God pulls people together and releases the kingdom of God through worship. We've seen people healed. We've seen people coming out of wheelchairs in the middle of worship. We've watched the full expression of what it is that God is wanting to do. Well, I shouldn't say the full expression, because we're seeing more and more every time we gather. Every time we're together on our Saturday nights, or every time we're together in our conferences, or anytime we're together in other regions across the nation, and anytime we're together around the world. And so at this point in time, I just want to welcome you to what we're doing here, to involve yourself in all that God has for you in your region, to infect with the love of Jesus, to transform your region into a place where His mountain can accelerate and excel and become the chief of all mountains in the earth.